shortly, but prior to beginning today's reads, we are going to be giving a brief recap on what we've been seeing in the cards over the last few days. If you would like to find those full readings, you can find them over on the place where we keep the videos. You can also find them over on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find them as a podcast over on my spot at Tarot Church and over on my stack. But as always, the list is open. As always, it is 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. We read for here highest priority messages from spirit, life path, angelic, dream interpretation, past life, mediumship, love readings, pet readings, animal spirit guide readings, akashic, mind, body, spirit, love, and aura. If there's anything of relevance that you feel that you need to communicate to me in order to have your reading, you can include it in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber only Disco channel in the appropriate channel. And if you're on the hold list, you can just let me know the date that you are added to the hold list. I'll be happy to add you back to that list as well. If you are joining us over on the place where we keep the videos, welcome. I would just ask if you'd like to get on the list, you can do so the same way that I've mentioned via the tree that is being sitting in my bio. But before we get started today, first and foremost, how are we doing today? Scale of 1 to 10. There are no wrong answers. We are on the cusp of a new moon in Gemini. We're going to talk about it. New moons in Gemini are not the time to take things too seriously. And the reason I say that has to do with the fact that, and it's a combination of basically Sagittarius full moon moving into a Gemini new moon. That shift is inherently clumsy. I want you to think about it. When I say clumsy, I want you to think about the idea of going from like a full run into a trot. Because Sagittarius full moon energy is all go, 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 right? Gemini energy is all about working in the array. It's working about dispersal. It's working about working through many different things at once. So it's very easy in energy like we're currently feeling to feel a little out of sort. It's intrinsic to the energy to a certain extent. But when you're able to navigate that, and that's why I was saying even now is not the time to be getting up in your feels as it relates to something that feels energetically confusing. Just kind of, it's kind of like roll with it to a certain extent. And that doesn't mean like roll with it, but don't roll over, if that makes sense. And I think you probably know what I mean. And I mean that by identifying that when we're rolling with things, we're taking them as we can, right? We're navigating one thing as another proportionately. Rolling over is just not bothering, right? Not just not caring. So make sure that you're applying that sense of care to things as you're rolling through them, right? What you want to avoid doing in energy like this, okay? I'm trying to save you from reading. What you want to avoid doing right now is getting all twisted up and all in your feels about something and then having some kind of explosive moment over something that was not necessarily a big deal. And that was something that was coming through very heavily over the last couple of days, because everybody, absolutely everybody, is feeling this energy right now. Now, as it relates to, and I'm going to have a whole article over on my stack shortly in terms of working through how to navigate through this full moon effectively. That should be coming out today. In terms of how to navigate this energy from the context of relationship, it's going to be very different, because one of the things you also have to keep in mind that's potentially adding to that feeling of being out of sorts to a certain extent has to do with the fact that we also see that there's a new relationship cycle that is coming together at this time. You'll recall that we saw a shift out of world relationships into strength relationships. And that shift happened approximately around the time of that new moon in Taurus that we just experienced, moving us out of world relationships and into strength partnerships. And that particular day exactly was like May 16th. It was when we had that Taurus new moon energy up until the present. These new relationships that we see are coming together right now feel very fortified in the context of being able to recognize and identify what one needs to apply one's strength to, right? These are relationships that are starting with a strong suit. And the thing about starting with a strong suit is, and this is the gift of having a strong suit, when one has a strong suit, one can pursue new avenues of vulnerability, right? One can work through things in different ways. One can be energetically adaptive. One can effectively identify and recognize what feels frustrating to the self. But in the moment or the context by which one feels frustrated, one is able to identify a solution to situations, right? It's a conversation that works through the fact that when we look and we have the right perspective, everything can work towards our energetic benefit. It's just finding the right perspective to be able to perceive something through. So there's something very important about that, because I like what I'm seeing for some of these relationships is not the sense of feeling, right? Not getting all out of sorts or angry at the self in terms of something that one can't do well, but trying to figure out the energetic accommodation that allows one to become, right? That allows one to be able to specialize in something, right? And I want to point this out, you often see this in the context of a savant. And I want to kind of like, I want to build into this to a certain extent, right? Because this is often the work that Gemini energy teaches us, right? It's very characteristic to be able to talk to someone who's had a Gemini journey. And when you talk about where they started, it's often in the context of recognizing and identifying a vulnerability, right? Because when one is able to identify a vulnerability, or one is able to navigate or recognize a deficit, right? Instead of kind of going to the space of being angry or hard at yourself in relationality to the fact that the deficit exists, a deficit to a certain extent allows new entryways, right? That in the context by which one accepts that there's an energetic deficit there, right? That allows you to become more productive in that space. And in the space by which you become productive, you become inventive. And so then where do you see that? It's often the space. This is what happens, the deficit that innovates, right? The modality by which we embrace ourselves, we recognize a deficit, and then we effectively start to innovate on the deficit that brings us to what? It brings us to our genius, right? It brings us to that way that you do something that no one else does it. That is you. That is often the journey of finding one's own unique brilliance, right? But the only way we often get there is not by rejecting or avoiding something that we're not good at, but wrapping our arms around it, embracing it fully, just allowing it to be the starting point instead of the wall, instead of the limitation. So that's where we see a lot of these relationships right now that are coming together, right? They're potentially moving into a pathwork of profound self-acceptance. And in the modality by which they're coming into a profound sense of self-acceptance, right? That's not a latent state. That's not the space by which they're giving up. That's the space by which they're beginning. So these relationships, either energy that is in solitude, that's honoring the journey of their transformation, potentially that journey of the transformation that occurred during all of that work that we recently saw with those world relationships that were coming together, or new relationship pathworks that are coming together in the observation and the understanding of what is energetically possible when we're implementing the power of profound self acceptance, but not the profound self acceptance that creates the limitation point, the self acceptance that allows the point by which anything and everything can begin. So this could be feeling like this could be bringing a new perspective to meeting others. This could be bringing a new perspective to the experience of engagement. Could be a lot of work that's happening there. Now, moving us into continuing forward, moving us into those world relationships. And you'll recall the world relationships were the partnerships that were coming together between the time of that new moon in Taurus leading into that Capricorn new moon that we experienced around January 18th of last year. What do we effectively identify with a lot of those relationships right now? There could be a deepening of relationship that is potentially occurring. And in the context by which those relationships are deepening, they're building. I wouldn't be surprised if it feels like they're moving very quickly, because one of the benefits that we see in those world relationships is the ability to be able to recognize and identify mutual possibility, mutual manifestation goals that they're potentially working together upon. It's project energy, right? It's project energy, and the project is the partnership. And taking that understanding, right, that eagerness to be able to build together, we see that these are relationships that are finding a unification point in relationship that they've never experienced before, specifically and particularly because they're believing in the power of the partnership. They're believing and they're seeing, right? They're seeing the evidence of it. They're recognizing the power of the collective energy that we bring to relationship. And what's beautiful about that is when we're not overly demanding, right? It allows for that flourishing point. So it's interesting because I feel like I see that energy potentially navigating into relationship gently, but with a sense of deep excitement as it relates to the possibility that the relationship's going into. But it's beautiful because it's not the space by which they're holding possibility like they're holding their breath. They're it's funny too, because as I said that, I started coughing. But that's what I mean. It's hard because they're healing in the same context, because they're recognizing the difference between a relationship of bated breath versus waiting breath, right? And waiting breath in relationship is negative, right? Because it can often feel like an individual who's in a point of pain for change. But a bated breath is one that feels energetically excited because, right? It's building into the context of what is energetically possible or what awaits them that they see, right? They can actually see on the horizon point. Now, this brings us to those moon relationships. And the moon relationships, how we're coming together between the time of that Capricorn new moon that we experienced around January 18th, leading into Uranus first going retrograde, which was around September 6th of last year. I feel like this time for those moon relationships may be very much a period of peace and contemplation. And a lot of the peace and contemplation that may be occurring in some of those relationships is being able to recognize and identify the healing that's needed in certain areas and avenues. And what are we talking about? The healing that's needed in certain areas and avenues. For some of those relationships, the observation of working through something, having these relationships are deeply embedded in partnership right now. And in the space by which they're deeply embedded in partnership, they're seeing things about the past that they could never see before. They're in a relationship that is in the process of recontextualizing their past experience. And in the context by which they're recontextualizing, I feel like they're taking every moment as they recontextualize to ground, right? Often when we're recontextualizing, it feels like the ground beneath our feet is energetically shifting. But what's beautiful about that is they're not only feeling the shift, but the shift somehow feels like it's steadying them, right? It's the recontextualization that is steadying them instead of shaking them. And in the context by which they're being steadied instead of shaken, they're recognizing how strong they are. And in the space by which they're recognizing how strong they are, they're identifying and recognizing the capability and capacity to be able to energetically take on more. So there may be a lot of these, again, and this is connecting back to those strength relationships, because these are relationships that are getting, right, they're building, they're literally in the process of building a new strong suit in partnership, because the relationship is one that does not require them to exert all of their effort and energy in perpetually checking on the health of the relationship, which in itself and by its very nature is a very steadying quality to have entered into that they may not have ever been had the opportunity of experiencing before. And it's having profound changes not only on them at the moment, but how they see everything that was before it. Now, that is where we find all of the energy prior to beginning today's reads. But if you'd like to find that full reading, you can find it over on the place where we keep the videos. You can also find it over on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find it as a podcast over on my spot at Tarot Church and over on my Stack. I would also encourage you to head over to my Stack to learn more about our next tarot class, which is happening next week, Thursday, June 18th at 5:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the ace cards of the tarot. If you would like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my Stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my Stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a paid monthly subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Class Archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I'll be doing my best to give you an update on everything we've studied prior to beginning that next class, but the material is there for you to receive as you're ready to receive it. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we have learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you'll also have access to over 20 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Class Archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. As I mentioned, I'll be doing my best to give you an update. And I also try to create these classes for both the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my mystic meditation articles, which give you updates on everything we've been seeing energetically in the cards. I'm about to release one today on this new moon we've got coming up shortly. Finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series. weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits so that you can stay more consistent. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute reads, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey at discount, as well as dream interpretation readings, which can be purchased per dream or as a series. Now, if you purchase the series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. But let me know in the comments how this energy is impacting you personally, because it is going to hit everybody just a little bit differently. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that one before. Thank you so much, Kath. I appreciate that. That said, we are going to get started on today's reads in just a few minutes. We are prioritizing. I'm only on for a short time today. So we are prioritizing personal readings and one cards. If you would like to get on the list right now, the list is open. You will be the first person read for. You will also have an additional card in your reading as the first person on the list. If you are on the hold list and would like to be added back to the list, I just need to know the date that you are added to the hold list. I'll be happy to add you back as well. And for those who are joining us over on the place where we keep the videos, welcome. You can also get on our list today via the tree that has Binks in it in our bio, and the gifts and the offerings I've mentioned for those who are subscribers apply to you as paid members. Absolutely. Good to see you today. Welcome, Journey. Stella, how you doing today? Hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you, Ignite. Welcome over on the place where we keep the videos. Thank you, Migs, for the compliment. Oh, how you doing today, Sam? One moment. Excellent. And thank you as well. Journey, we like a 7. A 7's a good place to start today. Tempest, thank you for reposting and sharing the live. It's been a minute. How you doing today, dear? Good to see you. Welcome, Avatar. Katie, thank you for the follow. Happy Saturday, Bridget, and thank you for sharing the live. I have no idea about that question. Maybe somebody else can answer Avatar's question about tier points. Also, if anybody has that information in your a part of the Disco channel, if you can post it in our clock app section, I would deeply appreciate it. Good afternoon, Beverly. How you doing today? Hi there from Texas. How you doing today? How Geminis right now? The energy for Geminis right now is probably very wild. It's positive. I feel like this is going to be a good new moon energy for those with Gemini placements. Hi there, Creek. How you doing today? How do you charge your crystals? That's a great question. Typically, there's a lot of different individuals who have different methods. I always find, depending on the crystal, a salt bath is usually a good way to start with that, and potentially salt bath and moonlight if you want to kind of start with like the most easy way to balance the crystal out. Now we've got a new moon coming up. So in terms of that, like, but you can definitely like, honestly, I feel like salt bath on a new moon is actually a good way to clarify a crystal, because you're kind of resetting it, right? Full moons are more putting intentional energy into a crystal. Salt bath on a new moon is a good way to cleanse them. That's my personal opinion on it. Thank you for the compliment, Mom. Ooh, sunny afternoon in the UK. I heard you guys have been having some storms lately. I'm glad to hear it's nice there. Hi there, Bridget. Good to see you. Thank you for the compliment, Nikki. I think you did blow the wardrobe open. I don't know what that did, but it was pretty cool. Oh, thank you, Avatar. I appreciate that. Kath, I think you just sent me 2 cents. Was that intentional? Grand Rising, Laurel. Good to see you today, dear. How you doing? Ooh, we got somebody over on the clock app who charges their crystals on a selenite plate. I could see that working very well as well. You said another one. Okay. I was like, oh, Kath sent me 2 pennies. Okay. Okay. Nikki, I gotta clean my crystals. I do not do that, and I probably should. I missed the I figured that was what was happening, Kath. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't normally say that to anyone. That's kind of you to say. Yes, I'm familiar with that term, Auntie. Kevin, I'm just fine right now. I appreciate the sentiment, but I'm not. There's no mockery here. This is a space of. I have to point out you haven't been. You come into my space and you're making assumptions as to what's happening here. Have you been here before? Are you casting judgment on someone that you do not know? Because I need to point out that's exactly the opposite of what Yeshua taught you to do. In fact, if you open your Bible, the Bible has many references about loving the other, loving the neighbor, loving the person that you don't know. So, in terms of who should be concerned about each other, the fact that you cast judgment and concern for me when you have no understanding of who I am or where I sit or who I might be, where must that prayer go? Where must that prayer go, Kevin? I hope you have a better day than the one that you're starting to move towards. I truly do. Absolutely. Did they stop making pennies yet? Not yet. Not of course. You can still send them virtually. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, thank you, Kath. I appreciate that. And you'll be the first person on our list today, which means you'll also have an additional card in your reading. Absolutely. Do you want to tell me who wrote Proverbs? I always notice that those who like to quote things often don't understand the context by which the letter was written. I've got 2 copies of the book here. Now, typically on a normal day, I would have ample opportunity to kind of work that through, but you're not here to learn. You're not here to listen. You're here to cast judgment, almost like a false prophet would. So again, I would ask you to potentially return back to the book and take a better look in terms of what the book is asking you to do, rather than trying to use the book to cast judgment on others on things that you do not understand or know. Absolutely. We must understand the purpose of the tarot and not do things that are inherently bad for us. Tap to claim, Isaac. And that's a lot of the work that we do here. I have a movement called Tarot Church that we work to help others understand and destigmatize a lot of the false contexts that are built upon tarot. I've been studying the tarot for over 30 years, and I'll tell you right now with full certainty, there's nothing I found in the tarot that will move you further away from a faith construct. If you understand it, it will probably move you closer towards it. Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of things to be said about Paul, right? A lot of things to be said about Paul. Understanding the history of those that wrote the words. Absolutely. How you doing today, Avatar? Thank you, Kath. Excellent. 2 whole pennies. I can't wait to rub them together. I got you, Kath. I'll double check, dear. All right, we are going to get started, but for those who would like to get on the list, it's actually so typically, unfortunately, I'm probably not going to have time to do a full collective today. But again, as you guys know, often when we have donations that are sent, the messages that are sent through those donations are also necessary for those who also need to receive them. So if you'd like to get on the list today, it's an absolutely lovely time to get on the list. You'll be the second person read for. The list is typically not this short. It's 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Binks in my Lio, please keep in mind, there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. Also, if you're on the hold list and would like to be added back to the list, all you need to do is send that donation payment. I'll be happy to add you back as well. And if anybody's joining us over on the place where we keep the videos, you can also get on the list today via my tree that has Binks in it in my Lio. Your paid membership also entitle you to the same benefits that I've stated for those who are subscribers over on the Clock app. That includes a free 1 card each day once we finish the personal readings. Oh, I appreciate that, Avatar. Good to see you today, dear. And thank you, Dandelion, for getting on the list. and for gifting everyone with that beautiful meteor shower. You'll be the second person read for today. If anybody else would like to get on the list today, you'll be the third person read for. Excellent. Yeah, this is probably a very good moon for crystal cleansing. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, they'll always exist virtually. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Nye. Oh, how you doing today? Absolutely. Welcome, Jonathan. Kevin, I have to tell you, the thing about often the space with tarot research is a lot of it is built upon the difficulty in relationality to, there is a disintegration zone that like to point out that we have in relationality to the history, which is the unfortunate condition by which the cards exist. We can only go as far back as the cards didn't start disintegrating. So there's many different theories as to the origins of the tarot. There are many different fields of study in relationality to the why the cards are created. I do a lot of work in my classes to give others full context of those theories and also to impart my own. I will say that I am not on the side of those who believe that it was simply a game. And if you take my classes, then you understand the context by which I believe that, because I work to help you understand what the cards meanings are to the best of my abilities from my research. How would a person describe tarot in a nutshell? I don't know about it. It's a good question. There are many different, the thing about it, Ivan, is like I just said, there are many different ways that individuals may come to articulate upon the tarot. And even in the field of study of tarot, you'll often notice that tarot readers have a lot of deviation points as it relates to the theories in terms of where the cards were created and what their purposes are. Typically, when you break down the different theories of tarot, you'll have two different paths essentially within those different theories. One, that it was a card game that others started to read divination into, others that articulate that it was a form of conveying information that was thus turned into a card game. Now, I am someone who is very much on the latter of those opinions. And again, my classes that I teach monthly help to articulate and understand the context by which I've come to believe that the cards were created and what their purpose is in terms of being able to interpret from them. I will say again, one of the reasons I started Tarot Church is because everything I've seen in the cards builds very firmly into the same virtues that we see that are represented in most of the highest forms of belief and faith systems universally. And so that's a lot of the work that I do to teach my own classes. I normally just use playing cards because it's more clear. Here's the thing about it, and that's perfectly fine, Snai, because one of the things that we see is the Western playing card system and most of the card systems that we have today, we understand are basically an interpretation of the tarot. And the reason we know that they're an interpretation of the tarot is because one of the major arcana still exists within them. I'll give you an opportunity to guess which card is the major arcana that you still see in the Western playing card system. Again, the space by which you articulate that something is energetically negative. It's very easy to put a label on it, Illuminator, but you're casting judgment on something rather than articulating what your concern is. We have to be very conscientious when we throw labels upon things. Say what you mean, talk, don't think about, and we have to do this not just in the context of the cards, but when we talk about each other. When we throw labels on things, it's often because we're trying to cast judgment upon them. And a label is very convenient because it saves you from having a conversation to understand what your concern is. So again, make sure that you're not doing that. You've got a whole book that has stories about what's so negative about putting labels upon things. Okay, I've got 2 copies of it here. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And Quirky, thank you for reposting. Good job, Bridget. That's a good way. That's what we should start. We can start referring to that as well, right? Mm-hmm. Hi there. I don't, but I won't do readings. I won't do readings on others. I won't do readings on others without their consent. If they're not connected to your Akashic, I won't read for them. So, yeah. Absolutely. Oh, they're back. Oh, Lord. And Kat, thank you for those gifts, dear. Cryptic, I'm happy to read for you if you'd like to get on the list. The list is open. It's 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Binks in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. Kirsty, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I have to point out 144 comes back every day to say negative things here. So I'm going to say the same thing I say every time you return. There are millions of places. You've got one precious life right now, 144. Every minute that you spend here, you don't energetically, like, you have to be intentional with where you choose to put your time. And so you're making an intentional choice to take that rare time that you have existing, just coming into a space where you clearly desire to be, and then trying to say negative things to attract attention towards the self rather than building into community. And I just want to bring that to your attention because there's obviously something that you need here. But I will make it clear to you that the same thing that I say every time you come. I've got a very simple rule. You have to be compassionate to the individuals that are in the chat space, and that's inclusive to me. And if you continue to try to come in and just negate what we're saying, I will proceed to mute you. And that's for the fact that you're not allowing the space by which you're honoring those here who are here to effectively share in being together. Oh, I mean, like, there are games. I can, if you guys are interested, there are many, many games built around the tarot. Mm-hmm. I can send you a book recommendation. Bridget, next mentorship, I'll send you, I can send you a book rec on that. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You didn't miss the collective, Sherry. We're tight on time today, so we're honoring 1 cards and personals, and we're going to see if we have time for the collective. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't, again, I have to point out 144. You keep coming back here. You obviously need something, but you've also crossed the line. All right, let's get to it. Hi there, dear. Yeah, you had to block them. Oh, so they're coming into yours too, BB? Man, you know what? We need to keep, like, I've got some thoughts on that. Oh, it's good to see you, dear. Guys, make sure to give BB some love. How you doing today? Yeah, like, it's like the usual suspects. I bet, here's the thing. I bet if we got all the readers together, we'd be like, here they are. We found you. Hello. We're gonna get a tarot armada together and be like, just show up, be like, hi. I heard you stop by. I heard you stop by a friend of mine's. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna find you. Turn the tables. All right, my friends. We're gonna get started on personal readings today. If you would like to get on the list is open. It's a great time to get on the list. I'm on today for a very short period of time, and I will be off tomorrow. So if you would like to get on the list, please do so sooner rather than later. Yeah, just absolutely. And it is 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Binks in my life. Exactly. I'm like, be nice. 4 cards for donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Binks in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for on these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. If you're joining us over on the place where we keep the videos, if you go to my profile, there's a tree there. And in that tree, you'll find the links to be able to send the donation if you'd like to get on that list as well. That said, we are going to get started on today's on today's reads. The first person on the list for today is Kathleen, if you're here. I've already got 2 of your cards out. Hold on a minute. Is this somebody crashing out on you? This feels like somebody crashing out. All right, hold on a minute. What's going on here? Hi, dear. How are you doing? And again, if anybody is on the hold list and would like to be added back to the list, it's a lovely time to get on the list with your held reading, because you'll be the 3rd person read for. Kathleen, can you let me know if we're doing a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer? Also, if you guys have a dream interpretation that you would like read for. My dreams have been wild. The last few nights, everyone I've been talking to has been having some really, really wild dreams. I got you. Tempest, thank you for getting on the list, dear. I've got you on the list as well. If anybody else wants to get on the list right now, you'll be the 4th person read for. I wish, bud. Are you kidding me? Probably fantastic. All right. No, it's okay. Listen, Sniper, I make this very clear. The reason we articulate that these readings are donations is for those who can't afford to have the reading. You have to understand the context by which the guides work. The guides work in a unified fashion. So it's not uncommon for someone to be here for another person's reading, and it's exactly something that they needed to hear. It's because our guides are much better at delivering communication than we are. Like they don't work. Communication does not work the same way that it works here in spirit. Mm-hmm. You haven't had any dream recollection this week. That is fascinating. I've got some theories on it. I've got some theories specifically on why you aren't, but I also have some theories as to why some people are probably having very pronounced dreams right now and others might be having a harder time with it. Wild dreams. Thank you for confirming, Bridget. Yeah, my dreams this week, like the last week of dreams, have been bonkers. which is hard for me, which I have to point out is very surprising because I typically am someone who has a hard time recalling my dreams. Yeah. Oh, Avatar. Well, again, if you want to go through any of those and try to work through what's happening there, we can work through that too. How's your dad, Anakin? One moment. All right. Crazy dreams. Thank you for confirming, Nikki. Absolutely. Whoa. Are you kidding, Nikki? Absolutely. Per, you'd like to get on the list for 524? I've got you, dear. Hi there, Trail. I think I don't dream much. Yeah, supposedly my wife says I scream and yell in my sleep. So I will point out, Trail, one of the things that we do here is I can help with dreams. I can either help you find out, get to the bottom of as to why you're not remembering your dreams, or we can pull dreams back out if you have fragments. So it's not uncommon for some of those who come to me for readings to only have a fragment of a dream, and through the reading we're able to pull the rest of the dream out, or also to help individuals unlock those dreams so that they can recall them. These are all the things that a dream reading can do. They don't necessarily require you to have the full dream in order to have the reading. And usually there's some kind of blockage point in terms of why the dreams aren't coming through. There's many different reasons that could be the case. All right, Per, you said 524. Let me just check here. I got you. Yep. It was 100K. Yep, Per, I've got you on the list, dear. If anybody else wants to get on the list right now, you'll be the 5th person read for. Mm-hmm. All right. You're having strange dreams too. Rude Mom. Remember, it wasn't Mom. It was shadow work. It was shadow work coming through them. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to pin up Kath here. We're doing a reading for Kath. Can I have guidance from my highest good on what to look forward to? I got you, dear. We've already got 2 cards out. One of them is cantilevered. Can I get 2 more? And thank you for being the first person on the list today. You'll have an additional card in your reading. Wow, that's a really beautiful read. And it's interesting too because it feels like a message from Divine Counterpart. Let me just grab your book. That came out real quick. I feel like the focus that you need to have during this particular cycle is, I just keep on hearing the same message: let go of things that have no possibility of growing. Like letting go of things that have no possibility of growing. Because, and I want to tell you, it feels to me like there's somebody around you trying to keep you as a placeholder. And I keep on getting a divine counterpart that articulates that you are not a placeholder. You are a priority. Right? And what does it mean, or what does it feel like when someone's keeping us as a placeholder? Right? Like profession, and it's interesting too, because it's actually what's coming through from your guides is it's okay to be a professional placeholder, is what I keep on getting. Right? And they're saying professionally yes, personally no. And why are they saying professionally yes, personally no? Because they're identifying that in a professional context, ultimately we are each other's placeholders, right? Because being a placeholder professionally has a lot of security connected to it, right? Because it's the observation of another person who understands that you have their back, right? It's the understanding that another, like the stalwart that you create for another person, in knowing that if they needed to, you're effectively there, and you can be there in an instant. That is a huge leverage point, right? That's a huge benefit. That's a huge blessing, because what that really says to another is, right, like you're there, and their security of knowing that you're there to back them up in a heartbeat allows them to dare more, is what I keep on seeing, right? There's a lot of things to be said, I think, professionally, in terms of saying to someone, if you go forward on something, I've got your back, right? Because, it's interesting, the message is coming through on it is that there are, it's interesting, I'm just going to give you, because it feels like it's coming from one of your angelics. There are those in life who are in a position in life where it's easier for them to be an energetic masthead. And I keep on getting, a masthead is someone who can only do something, like can do something because, like, there's no harm in doing it. Right? Like, if you're going to be a masthead, you have to kind of be in a space of being like, you and whose army, right? there's a little bit of that boldness there. But there's something about you being able to say to another person, like, that if you can't step forward, you still have leverage, right? or understanding like the difference. It's interesting because I keep on getting like the difference between a stalwart and a bulwark, which is like the observation that the ability to effectively be working through something in a determined fashion allows another person to energetically pursue their passion. And when I keep on hearing pursue their passion, which is being able to, like somebody who's able to stand up and say something, and another person that's immediately able to say, because they've stood up, they've got a point, is what I keep on hearing. So I feel like I see you in some way working to help another person understand that while you guys don't do something the same way, there's something that you can be doing to help collaborate upon each other, which is working in different ways, but to the same collective benefit. Now, personally, absolutely not. Everything I just said here, don't you dare take any of that in a personal context. And the thing is, when someone tries to do that in a personal context, it's creepy, right? It's really creepy for someone to say, we could help one another. What? Like what? What did you just say? Like, we can help one another. Like what? Like that's not the sound you should hear in a relationship. And I feel like you're clearing some creepy energy, right? You're clearing some kind of energy. I don't know why. You're clearing some kind of energy that's trying to use their relationship to you as an example. I don't know why I keep on hearing someone say everyone else is doing it, so why can't we? Ooh. I don't like hearing that in a conversation. Right? Because everyone else is doing it, so why can't we? Is somebody trying to, like, I keep wondering, you can't force someone into a relationship dynamic via peer pressure. And so I feel like it's almost somebody who's trying to, it's like somebody who's trying to, I'm just going to give you a clarification. I'm seeing somebody who's trying to diminish the connection they have to you, to another person, and articulating that it's purely friendship when it's clearly not, and then trying to utilize it as some kind of energetic example, is what I keep on getting. Like, it literally says to me, it's somebody who's like not just trying to have a connection with you, but they're trying to distort the quality of the connection in another person's eyes. Right? It's like I can see them trying to, like, and I feel like they're trying to distort it into something completely platonic while doing something completely different otherwise. And that's why I'd be very conscientious about the fact that, like, if they're writing things to you, if they're writing things to you and they're making it seem like, I keep wondering if it seems like they're being like overly, I keep wondering if it seems like they're being like overly mysterious in the messages. This is why. Because I keep on getting like the space or nature by which someone's trying to like show someone something and say, like, see, this is harmless, but you recognizing that there's something more there, or I keep on getting like somebody who's potentially utilizing or using the relationship as some kind of placeholder rather than articulating upon the full reason that they're trying to come back to you. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, the star energy, bottom of the deck. Like, there it is. And I just keep on hearing, remember, your divine counterpart is never going to see you as a placeholder. You're going to be their priority. You're not a placeholder. You're the priority. I just keep on hearing that. You are not the placeholder. You're the priority. And I keep on seeing that in the professional space, right? That you saying to another person, I've got your back regardless, right? I've got your back regardless, is you being another person's star, right? You saying to another person, you go on with it, and I'll be back. I'll be here to hold down the fort as you do so. That's you coming through in a space by which another person sees like what a gift and blessing you are, not in professional, right? I keep wondering, don't let somebody use your friendship as an example to try to break a relationship that they're not necessarily happy with, right? Like it almost feels like, I don't know why, I almost see somebody who realizes that like their relationship is like tempered glass, and something about a friendship with you would be the diamond that cracks it, right? I just keep on getting that. If the relationship, right? If the relationship is tempered glass, don't let them trying to build I keep on getting quote unquote friendship with you to be the diamond that breaks it. Which says like I keep on seeing like it's almost you having to do the work of saying like what good could possibly come from this, right? All right. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Kath. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing, and I want to, you know what? Here's the thing about it. I'm just going to give you, I'm going to give you some clarity on it. If it's harmless, if it's a harmless meeting, then everybody can come, right? If it's a harmless meeting, everyone's invited. I don't know why the guides keeps on saying that. If it's a harmless meeting, everyone's invited. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, dear. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It's 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private reads, and you can book private reads on my site. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Yes, I've had a hard time getting work since I moved, even though the abundance still flows in other ways. Give it time right now, Sniper. We can always do a reading on that as well. Hi there, Trail. I think I don't dream much. Yeah. Well, and I got to tell you, you know, some of the heart, you probably know this, right? Like sometimes the smoke like sometimes that teacher can affect the ability to bring dreams back. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that, Laurie. Thank you for that. You got to be grounded. You cannot, like, we don't talk enough about the fact that like a healthy spirituality, like first things first, you got to ground. You got to ground. You better be grounded. You better be grounded. Hi there, if. That's very kind of you to say. All right, let's continue right now. And Liz, thank you for the follow, dear. Oh, thank you, Kath. I'm just reading over your comments from the reading. And user 262, thank you for the follow. You're so welcome, Per. Yeah, checking the ledger. Yeah. You're welcome. Per. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Listen, I'm not surprised with energy right now with what we're experiencing. Oh, thank you for that gift. I haven't seen that one before. Mm-hmm. Oh, I really feel that. Okay, thank you for confirming, Kath. Don't get me wrong. I'm everything but perfect when I'm happy with it. Tap to claim. Bridget. I feel like I need to let go of things, especially from the past person. Yeah, and I think that you're probably noticing a lot of energy trying to come back right now. Yeah. It feels like not professionally. From professionally, it feels like someone who sees you as their shield. Personally, it feels like an energetic mask, right? It feels like somebody trying to break something solid by articulating something's harmless that clearly isn't, you know? And Mal, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I heard that from a past person trying to reconnect, trying to use my connection to them as an example. Yeah, this past person wants to reconnect and said, we're like helping each other if we do this. Thank you so much for confirming what I was reading there. Exactly. They're trying to come back and masked it as friendship. Thank you for confirming what I was reading. Yeah, they're so bold and trying to be friends. Yeah. And I think here's the thing about it, right? I'm going to say the quality, and you know this, the quality of being able to be friends with someone that you used to be intimate with. I'm not saying that that's not possible, but I'm saying that there's something a little odd about this, especially given the context by which something ended. Yeah, it's exactly that. I'm thinking that it's not friendship they're after. So you're seeing it too. And Liz, thanks again for that follow. You're so welcome, dear. I'm so glad that this helped. I'm afraid I don't read French education. So if you could translate that, I'd be happy to read it. Dandy, thank you for letting me know you sent over email. Nikki can read French. Nikki, you can translate for me. I feel like you can go from being romantic to friends once that type. Yeah, exactly. I'm not articulating that that's not possible. I'm saying that something feels amiss in this. Hi there, Bernsey. Good to see you. It's been a minute. Um, we can talk about that. We can talk about that in private readings. Again, but I don't do legal. Like we can talk about the energy around something. Absolutely. You can no, you can totally have it inside tea. If it's inside, thank you for letting me know, Dandy. Yeah, that why they're trying to come back. You felt it too. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hi there, Smokey. How you doing today? I'm not sure why you don't see all the comments, Sniper. Oh, your grandmother did tarot. Your great grandmother. Oh, that's incredible, Kath. Absolutely. All right, let's continue right now. So the next person we're reading for today is going to be Dandelion. And just a reminder, if you would like to get on the list today, the list is open. You will be the fourth person read for. 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Listen, Dandy, can you just give me the first initial of the name that you sent the message through? And we're going to continue right now. I need to take a moment and step away, and I'll be back and we'll continue with our reading. Okay? Thank you. Let's continue. All right, I've got. How are you doing today, Kathy? Excellent. Hi there, Chris. Need to gather energy on that. They said something kind of odd. Yeah, it was feeling very odd when I was reading for it. And thank you for sharing the live, Chris. Yep, I got you. Thank you, Dandy. I appreciate the clarification. I can't control my gifts. We can also end up be saying that. That's amazing, Per. No, Per, you're coming into it. I feel like that's what's happening right now. You're learning to get better control of it. Yeah. All right, let's continue right now. So this is Inside Tea. I just need a minute to read over the message. Just reminder, it seems we also have a bit of a dream interpretation here. If you guys have a dream that you would like interpreted and you need to get me the information, you can just send it in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber only disco channel in the appropriate channels. So while I read over this, I will give you guys a hearth warmer, something to discuss while I read. And your hearth warmer today is, what is something that you regretted in the past that you now realize was a blessing? Hmm. Okay. Wow. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. I got you, dear. All right. Let's get to it. And before we continue, it's interesting. Yeah, before we continue with this read, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the Animal Oracle card here. We're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the hind. We'll do that again after the next reading. And I'm going to pin up Dandy here. Guys, make sure to give Dandy some love. I love your optimism. Got you. Where'd Dandy go? Hold on a minute. Dandy, can you come comment? I just want to make sure you're still in the room before we start the reading. Present. Perfect. Very, very, very good word for this reading. Two more. What are you doing there? Oh. Wow. Extra cards. Wow. Like 2 years? Feels like you guys have been apart for quite some time here. There's something there's something to be said for maturation cycles. And the best way I can describe it is, and you know, this is often, and it's interesting too, because I've got a, like the thing that often happens when I see relationships like this is the difference between a relationship that ends not because something is wrong, but because someone is not ready. Okay. I need to get you a book. Hold on a minute. Book. Give me that. No, it's this one. Give me that book. Come here. Oh my God, it's too far away. That, but that's part of the reading too. Hold on a minute. Yeah, that one. Okay. Yeah, come back. All right. And so I'm going to say that again. The observation, and it's funny too, because as soon as I knew this was your book, the context by which I had to grab the book was part of the reading. There's something important to understand with life path work related to the difference between nothing wrong but not ready. And what often happens when nothing wrong but not ready are situations and circumstances where you literally look at someone and you see your future in their eyes, right? You just straight up see them and you recognize the fact that you see your future in your eyes. And the thing is, if you're not ready for that future, the possibility of wanting to run straight in the opposite direction is very high. Particularly, this happens the younger that we are, right? And I feel like I'm not sure about the nature by which you and another person ended something, but I see some kind of circumstance surrounding the fact that meeting you made someone face a lack of commitment, a fear of commitment, and a fear of commitment can be pretty devastating to face because it's the observation of saying, right, when someone has a fear of commitment, it's basically the equivalent of saying to the self, I can't have nice things, right? And it's wild too, because even as I wrote that, like as soon as I tried to write, I can't have nice things, my pen stopped working. So I feel like I see somebody who had to depart from you and get into some pretty heavy soul searching, right? Like it's literally, and I feel like, and I don't know, I'm not sure what the context is by which you and another person ended, but I see somebody having carried a lot of guilt and weight related to something. I keep wondering, related to something that they did to you or put you through, that they recognize that you didn't energetically deserve, that had everything to do with the fact that they potentially gave you the wrong idea. And I don't even see that. I don't even see the fact. Here's the thing about it. This is the worst thing about it. I don't feel like this person intended to give you the wrong idea. I feel like I see somebody who finally realized that they realized when they were with you that they could have everything through you, but they weren't ready for it. So I feel like there's something very important about that. And if anything I'm identifying here feels like it was connected to the separation, I want you to let that serve as confirmation. Because I just keep on hearing, I don't know, I keep on hearing a complicated breakup or something that feels like it was complicated, because I could literally see like the funny thing about a complicated breakup is when things are awful, it's not complicated. Right? Like when things are awful, someone be like, what happened? This is what happened. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Right? Like it's like very, very like awful relationships are not complicated breakups. Complicated breakups are often and like delineated. by someone going through confusion as it relates to what it is that they ultimately desire on their life path. And I want to point out that context, this is why, like, don't be, everybody can't, you can't talk, you can't, everyone stop talking mean at Saturn, right? Because Saturn can fix that. Right? Like Saturn, that's what Saturn does, right? Like when everyone's always like, oh, Saturn, like that's what Saturn fixes. Okay. Like Saturn can fix a confusion on life path real quick, right? Because what is Saturn saying? Saturn's got one beat and it's a banger and it's tick tick tick, right? It's tick tick tick. Saturn's like, I love this song. Don't you love? What's wrong? Where are you going? Why are you running away from this song? Why are you running away from this song? Um, so I feel like there's something important there because I need to say, are you like, did this person have a Saturn return in the time that you guys have been separated? Because if there's been a Saturn return happened, right, you change your relationship to that song, right? And often the song, the change of the song goes from, instead of tick 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 to I've done wrong, right? It goes from tick 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 to I've done wrong because it's the observation of someone who was prioritizing their time in the wrong way, and the recognition of letting something invaluable go because they were being too greedy with it. So I feel like I see something here. I feel like I see somebody in the thick of getting their act together. And when somebody's in the thick of getting their act together, we can usually, I like to point out, you can tell the difference real quick. Right? You can tell the difference real quick when somebody's in the thick of getting their act together. Because the first thing you usually hear, what is the first thing you usually hear when somebody is in the thick of getting their act together based upon a Saturn return? I owe you an apology. Right? That's what you hear. That is the sound you will hear, right? That is the sound that you'll hear when somebody is in the thick, right? When somebody's in the thick of recovering from a Saturn return moment, right? I've got some explaining to do, and I owe you a massive apology that I can never apologize for properly. So if you've been feeling like that, I feel like that's and I think that in terms of, it's interesting that you brought that dream up because I don't know what just happened, but I feel like this recent issue, it's not the first time you've experienced it, right? All wind up, no pitch, right? All I keep on hearing all wind up, no pitch, which is basically, and this is what I want you to understand, right? I feel like I see you having had to navigate this more than one time, bottom of the deck. It don't let it don't let it don't don't let it um don't let this karmic sticking point, this has nothing to do, this has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the fact that you're energetically, and I want to point this out. I know it's going to sound like, I don't want to, I know there's nothing I say, but I know when I say this, you're probably going to like want to throw something. You're perfect. Right. And I would not be surprised if you've literally had energy try to end things for you and say you're perfect. And you say, if you're perfect, where are you going? Right. This is why. Because when somebody is afraid of commitment and they find their future sitting in front of them, right, then it becomes like you become the force of Saturn in their life. And so I feel like I see not just one, but several situations by which you've been a turning point moment for another person where they recognize and realize that everything that they ever desired is through you, but they have to be able to move through that. And I keep on getting, um, You don't owe anyone your patience on that journey, right? You don't owe anyone a second chance, but understanding the nature, right? The reason I'm articulating the fact I'm helping you understand the nature of this is so that you can assess, right? So that you can assess whether that change has actually occurred, right? Because I just keep on seeing has nothing like, and that's why I want you to be conscientious or conscientious about this dream. You're probably going to feel a lot of this energy tugging at you. It's not your truck. It's not your tug to facilitate. It's theirs. So regardless of whether that tug's there, right? Remember what I said. It should not require you. If somebody walked away from you because they weren't ready, you should not need to find them. They should be finding you. And that's how you will know that they're ready. Thank you so much for having this reading with me, dear. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience it. And that's what I get. And that's straight up coming from your counterpart, right? You'll know them by their approach. You'll see. I keep on hearing the divine counterpart saying, I will face you. You won't have to chase after me. This will not be a game of catch up. This will be a meeting, right? This will be a face to face. This won't be you chasing after them. Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. I'm also probably going to take only one more person on the list today before I close the list. And just taking a moment to read over. Yeah, they do always show up if it's the frog. Yeah. Hi there, Dada. Good to see you today. Happy Saturday. Welcome, Dejana. Thank you for the follow and thank you for sharing the live. Avatar, I needed to hear this. I've been asking this. Thank you for the help on whoever's reading that was. You're so welcome. And thank you, Dandy, for having that reading with me and sending you support on that journey. And I like to point out, like, it's wild that I literally said in the reading, you're helping others with their path work and to heal their Saturn placements. And and then somebody in the chat was like, I needed to hear this. Thank you for helping me. You're so welcome, dear. I hope it helps. Make sure that you're writing your dreams down too, because I have a feeling like you're probably getting a lot of dreams coming through right now related to this. Absolutely. Oh, that's really kind of you, Starstruck. Okay. I am a tarot reader, Arun Anu. We have we read into astrology here, but we look to astrology to confirm what we're seeing energetically. So I would never say I'm an astrologer, but I look to the astrology to help me understand what I'm reading energetically. Hi there, Carlos. Beautiful day. Why do you feel that, Anu? All right. And we're going to continue right now. The next person we're reading for today is going to be Tempest. I need a pen that works. Where's my pen? Hold on a minute. Okay. You're so welcome. No, it's pretty amazing how the readings work like that. But I mean, I like to point out the guides are very efficient and collaborative. They're much more collaborative than we are. Oh. Excellent. All right, I got you, dear. So the next reading we're doing is a highest priority guidance for Tempest. But before we start, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the fox. Purr. Look at Purr go. Kathy, thank you for also receiving this message. This was a message for another individual over on the Clock app. But as I said, this is why we describe them as donation readings, because the guides like to work collaboratively. So it's not uncommon for a message that you need to receive to be a message from another person's reading, because those are the guides working collaboratively with each other. I got you, dear. I'm on my walk. Helps me connect. That's beautiful. All right, we're doing a highest priority for Tempest. I pinned Tempest up here, guys. Make sure to give Tempest some love. Okay. Okay. Oh. Oh. This is some big energy, Tempest. I feel like I'm identifying something here. And I like it because I kind of see the way that you navigate situations, which is, I feel like I see you kind of being in a space by which when things are going well, you walk even more carefully, right? When things are going well, you gotta tread, like it says to me, you gotta tread carefully. Which I think to a certain extent, and I think that that's important, because I feel like that's you. And I want to kind of describe this. You understand this. You understand what we mean. I need it. I'm getting you a book, and I don't. My pen isn't working, but this is also what I'm talking about right now. Hold on a minute. You understand profoundly that success can blind, is what I keep on getting. I'm not even sure why. I don't know if there's someone that you had in your life early on who had a very close relationship with success. But what do we mean when we talk about the fact that success can blind? Because when one is being too successful, right? Then you only see through the optics of the success that you yourself are having, right? And so it can often, like, that's often why we talk about the idea that success can blind, because it can often create the space by which someone who's successful can do something very easily, right? That it like success to a certain extent creates an easement point in some things. And this is often the space by which others lose connection with someone, right? Because it changes the context by which you effectively see, like, you can't talk to someone who's successful about what the qualitative hardness level of something is, right? Because the more and more successful one is, the harder it is to remember how hard it is without that success there, is what I keep on getting. And I want you to remember that, because I feel like it's you having to have to brush off some well-intentioned advice, right? It feels like you having to brush off some kind of well-intentioned advice to someone who is giving you advice from where they are rather than where you are, right? Because it articulates upon the fact that they might not be taking into context the fact that something they do easily, right? Something they do easily is easy because they're already successful, is what I keep on getting. So take it like, it's interesting because it's like, it says take advice right now collectively and with a grain of salt. And that grain of salt is the opportunity of potentially doing something that, and I feel like it's you potentially doing something against the grain, right? Like having the bravery of doing something against the grain, with the context of understanding that that's because it's your path work. And again, especially if you have a history of doing that, I don't know why I keep on hearing like some energy live in the I did it anyway. You know what I mean? Um it's like some energies just live, like some energy live in the I did it anyway, which is often the story by which, like, and I just keep on seeing someone say a story like, yeah, how'd you do this? Well, everybody told me to do this, so I did that. Everybody, no, everybody I was talking to was like, go this way. And I was like, what's over there? And they're like, don't go that way. And then you go that way. And you're like, you're perfectly fine. Because, and I think that there's some quality there that you have to energetically pay attention to. And I just keep on getting the quality that you have to effectively pay attention to a certain extent, is is working through, right? The observation of energetically working through something. And in the context by which you effectively work through it, um, the context by which you energetically work through it is the observation by which you yourself understand. And I keep on getting this. It's not the fact. It's not the fact that the energy around you doesn't want what's best for you. But yeah, I feel like I see you. I don't know why. I feel like you're surrounded by super, like, I keep on getting, this is the curse of being surrounded by super successful people. this is this is the curse of being surrounded by super successful people or super successful energy, which is often, right, often the guidance they give you is guidance that works in the purview of already being successful, right? So I feel like that's what I mean in terms of being able to navigate something and allow for others to help you um, build an adjustment point in terms of recognizing and identifying like what you might, like how others are perceiving something, but not necessarily as it relates to the advice that you need to take directionally at this time, right? Like there's like that's you in that fox energy that I'm seeing, which is again, like good advice is not a direction, it's insight, right? It's something that we should take into consideration to fortify a direction that we're heading into, not to change it, not to change that, like not to change it entirely, right? So I want you to be mindful of that, because, and it just keeps on, I just keep on hearing, remember, successful energy is forgetful, right? Like that's the hard part about it. It's like successful energy is forgetful. They often forget what it was like before they had the success there that makes things that make things propel, right? That makes things propel more easily is what I keep on getting. So just be conscientious of that, and don't be upset is what I'm seeing, but just keep that in mind. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Tempest. Oop, come back here. Oh, that's for that card's for the next reading, and it's so cute. It landed directly, like landed directly above Straga's head. So we're gonna leave that card there for a minute. Um, Thank you for having that reading with me, Tempest. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you'd like to get on the list, I have room on the list potentially for one more individual before the list will be closed. 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Binks in my Lio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Okay. No, it didn't land on her. It landed above her head. She's fine. She's still sleeping. Justice, thank you for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. Noelle, I'm happy to read for you. These are donation-based reads, so all you need to do is send the donation payment. I'll be happy to draw cards for you. It's 3 cards for 29 or more for non-subscribers and for those who are joining us over on the place where you keep the videos as well. Thank you, dear. Tempest, they tell you to surround yourself with successful people, but man, they're tunnel vision. So you see it too. And I feel like it's hard because I feel like you're very blessed, you know, I see you, I see you in some kind of muse energy, right? So, and like the thing about it is often when I pick up on muse energy, you'll find muse energy, surrounded, right? Muse. But that's why you have to take, right? You have to take some of that advice with the understanding of their of another's optics, right? Because it's not the fact that it doesn't feel like it's not the fact that it's not bad advice, but it's like you have to ask yourself if it's the right advice for where you find yourself. Resonates all around. Thank you for confirming. You're so welcome, dear. All right. All right, we're going to continue right now. And I almost feel like, one of the things that might help with that, Tempest, is write your idea down before you seek advice on it. Right? So that way you can kind of look at it more. I keep wondering, look at it more as weather testing. No pun intended. Pun entirely intended. I'll be here all week, folks. All right, let's continue right now. The next person we're reading for today. How you doing, Team Osana? The next person we're reading for today. Yeah, I don't know why, Tempest. I just keep on seeing the situation of you being like, yeah, I'd like your advice on something. No, I already did it. You being like, I already did it. No, I just like your advice on it. No, I already did it. Oh no, it's already done. No, I already locked it in. I just wanted your thoughts on the subject. All right. Next person we're reading for today is going to be Per. If you could let me know if we're doing a general reading or if you know what I'm talking about. If you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And thank you, Shelly, for those star jewels. I appreciate you. Hi there, Camus. I can start showing the cards, Jared. I know I realize that you might not be able to see them on the place where we keep the videos. You expect something to go wrong. I just expect the unexpected. That's fair. Yeah, you can't see the way others perceive you, but you can't make them less empathetic. I mean, I mean, here's the thing about it. You know, you can't see the way others perceive you. I mean, have you talked to someone who's psychic? You know? Yeah, success. They don't remember the struggle. Exactly. Yeah. No, we're reading them presently, Jared. Hi there, Moon. I again, you're talking in the space of um outside third party energy. I'm not sure what you're speaking about. How you doing, Bobbin? This is my energy now. Thank you for confirming, Kathy. Becoming more spiritual. Um, I'm always mystified and surprised. There's a lot of projection. I just need to point out it's very odd to me when I'm giving a reading for someone, right? When I'm giving a reading for someone, and then someone who's not having the reading comes in and says nobody tells me what to do. Like never will you see the full force of projection. Then having a reading for a different person, and then another individual says nobody tells me what to do, being like, well, we've isolated the problem. We've isolated the problem. Question in the disco for Per. Question in the disco for Per. All right. I define myself as a mystic wildling. All right, let's get to it. And for those who have information that you feel is necessary or relevant for our reads, you can include them in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber only disco channel in the appropriate channels. Okay. And before we continue, and just a reminder for anyone else who would like to get on the list today, I've got room on the list for one more full reading. The list is very short today. Before we're going to start with one card readings for super fans and subscribers and paid members. So that is inclusive to those who are paid members over on the place where we keep the videos. So if you would like a free one card reading, now's a great time to sign up for that paid membership or for that super fan status to receive that one card reading. We're doing outside tea for Per, but before we begin, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal oracle cards here. We're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the hawk. Oh, thank you. We'll do that again after the next reading. Outside tea for Per. I'm going to pin Per. Dada, thank you for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. I'm gonna pin you with your incredible animal guess. An animal with amnesia. I love it. All right. Outside tea for Per. You know, Per, I can't start this reading until I get a pen because like whenever I read for you, it's like there's a lot of messages coming through. So you're gonna have to give me a minute before we get started. I'm gonna go grab a pen to make sure I can write down whatever comes through, and we'll get started. We'll be back in just a moment. And just a reminder, if anybody else wants to get on the list today, perfect time to get on the list. I've got one more spot available today before the list will be closed. 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Thanks in my Lio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private reads, and you can book private reads on my site. I'll be back in just a moment, and we're going to continue with our readings. I don't think we've gotten to that point yet. Okay. Ah. Per, what's going on? Is there something going on with your leg? Good Lord. All right. Oh my goodness. All right, where are we? All right, outside tea for Per. I've been back from vacation for almost a week now, and I can't remember a single dream when I wake up in the morning. I know I'm dreaming, but I have absolutely zero recollection. Something else I've noticed is that when the collective says their dreams have been really wild, mine are actually regular, or they're just completely absent. I'm not comparing, it's just an observation. Okay, let's get to it. 4 cards. Couple of things. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Oh, this is wild. Hold on a minute. Okay. First things first. Thank you. First things first. I want you to make sure that you're taking a moment with your guides to notify them that you're back from vacation and your break is over. Yeah. That's the first thing I'm seeing. The other thing I'm seeing right now is I feel like what I'm seeing, what's happening right now is I've got your guides, right? Your guides are leveling you right now, which means I see you very much in the liminal space. So I'm not surprised that you're telling me that you're not getting a lot of dreams there. Specifically because first they like something they want to work with you on in the dream space. They want to start with a clean slate. Is what I keep on getting. And I keep on getting that something about, because you have such an active dream space, I keep on getting the lack of dreams is somewhat like a palate cleanser, if that makes sense. Because I can almost see you, looking towards the dream space, being like, where'd they go? They're usually very active. And they're just like, I feel like this is them like articulating upon the fact that they're getting ready to work you through a new energetic lesson, right? So this is a time to be able to focus on recharging and intention setting, particularly as it relates to anything you would like to work on or focus upon during that next vacation. Because I keep on getting this last vacation was a vacation of rest. This one's a working vacation. Is what I keep on getting. This one's a working vacation. So I just keep on seeing like recharge, and reset. There's also a reason why you don't have access to the dream space right now. And the best, and I know this is going to sound a little bit wild, there's a karmic storm happening in the dream space right now. And I feel like the reason that you're feeling a lot of heaviness in your legs is because it feels to me like your guides have engaged your guides have engaged your guides have engaged this sounds so wild. Your guides have engaged a break a break right? They've engaged a break to prevent you from getting caught up in the karmic storm. And the reason I'm seeing that is because we've noticed that you have a tendency, okay? I want you to notice, okay? Your guides know that you have a tendency of inadvertently showing up in other people's dreams without meaning to. Miss Curious. Miss Curious, Miss Curious. Your guides are calling you Miss Curious. What's that? Like your guides know that Miss Curious has a can't help being inquisitive when you're in the dream space, being like, what's that? Where other people are like, that doesn't look good. You're like, oh, I want to go straight over there. And you have to understand, I feel like your guides are trying to say to you, they can't have you getting caught up in a karmic storm right now. Like they and you would just, what other people would walk away from, you would just walk straight into, right? Where other people would just be like, nope, right? Where other people like, look, there's everybody else. Like, there's everybody else here going, nope. And that's you going, what's that? What's that? That's you going, what's that? What's that over there? I'm just curious. So the reason you're feeling heaviness in your legs, because as soon as I got up, man, oh my gosh, it was wild. I was like, what is that? It felt like, and I was like, that's what, like, they were like, that's what we did. They're like, it felt like they literally put like a weight on you, to keep you like a kite. They're like, nope, nope, not right now, is what I keep on seeing. So they're like, they're keeping you grounded right now. And that's the reason, right? And that's why I'm telling you right now, and this is the confirmation. Did you notice the fact that everyone's saying to me that their dreams this week have gone wild? Have you seen what's been happening to the energy during your reading? I mean, I keep blocking it, but do you see what's been happening? Right? The energy in the dream space right now is like, it's a karmic storm. And the thing about it is, when there's a karmic storm happening in the dream space, there's a lot of clearing that's going on, right? There's a lot of combative energy. There's a lot of insight I'm getting that's coming through right now in the dream space as it relates to the full shape of karma that's being healed. So I just keep on seeing that it's like the thing that the like energy like yours, if someone is going through a karmic storm and you're there, it can often create a distraction point, right? It's the space by which when another energy is trying to work through something, and then you're there being like, what's that? And someone being like just a bystander. It can potentially damage the work that other guides are doing, right? And it's not, I keep on hearing, it's not the fact that you're doing it intentionally. Quite the opposite. They recognize the fact that you're not intentionally doing that, right? And so this is your guide, these are your guides that are effectively like keeping you, making sure that you're in, they're making sure that they know where you are. Is what I keep on getting. So that way you don't get caught up in another person's karmic drama, is what I keep on seeing, in like accidentally. Bottom of the deck on this reading. Yeah, it's just temporary. It's just temporary. It's like it's batten down the hatches kind of energy, right? And so like, and I feel like what's interesting about this is, and it's interesting too, because I feel like we were making the joke about you coming into the ability to control things. Like as soon as you can energetically control something, they won't need to do this. Right. Um, you know, and this is getting into more of the context of me trying to, like, of us identifying those guides that we see around you, because you know, I feel like there's something important that's happening here about the fact that the guides are trying to help you work with them. And so even in the context by which this is occurring, something around the idea or the understanding that, um, like I said, what's the word I'm looking for? You'll sometimes, okay, I'll point this out. You'll sometimes hear me say something, or I say, you're either experiencing this or the exact opposite, right? And the reason I say that is me saying you're either experiencing this or the exact opposite is often understanding like what side of the work is necessary. And so the best way I can describe what's happening right now for a lot of individuals is potentially being in the dream space and being able to recognize the fact that they're energetically dreaming. Okay. And this is why, and I just keep on hearing the guide saying, recognize does not need further recognition. To recognize, this was a card that was by Strega, right? Because recognize does not need more further recognition. Because the modality by which another person is being able to see the full shape of the karma that they're working through, that's not the time to have an anomaly energy introduced in the dream space. And so you would basically appear towards another in a dream space as an anomaly that might distract them from the work that other guides are trying to do. Right. And it has a lot to do, remember, and it's saying refer back to the dream. Refer back to the dream where your guide said, like when you guides had you in the apartment and the guide said, and then what did the guide say to you? You're like, I want to go to the 7th floor. And they said, you can't go to the 7th floor. And did you say, okay? Or did you say, I'll just get there anyway? Right? Do you recall that dream? Do you recall that? Do you recall that dream? Right? You never said to them at that moment. Notice the important thing about that. You never said to them, why can't I go? Right? You never said to them, why can't I go to the 7th floor? You never said, why can't I go? You just said, I'm just going to get there anyway. Right? So it was that commitment, right? That commitment, that energetic determination, right? Like that's what they're saying, Kate, like they're saying it would be like that, right? That's why they're concerned. Okay. Yeah, you didn't take it as a request, you took it as a challenge. Okay. Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to receive them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list today, I've got room on the list for one more person before the list is closed. 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers, being semi-lio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. Just going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Okay. Just read this one. Mm-hmm. Just one moment. Yeah, and that's what I keep on getting. The next one's going to be a working vacation. Yeah, yesterday your legs were heavy. Thank you for confirming. Yeah, you're going away in a week again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're preparing you for heavy work. Exactly. Oh, thank you for that gift, Per. Oh, I love that. I even went to the store to get a stone Bridget recommended, and they were sold out. Oh, what stone was it? Yeah, my guys are amazing. Yeah, they are. Yeah, you've been dreaming about storms. Confirmed. This makes total sense. Yeah, Miss Curious Me never. Yeah, they're reining you in. Hi there, Light Seeker. How you doing today? Yeah, you're totally on point with the storm thing. Yeah, get back here. And thank you. We teared up. Thank you, Light Seeker. You're not, here's the thing. Under normal circumstances, I need to stress this. Under normal circumstances, you're not damaging anything. Under normal circumstances, most people would see you as a harmless bystander. But if there is a karmic storm happening in the dream space, then the observation of something, of you getting caught up in something, is, I just keep on seeing the risk is too great. Yeah. Steph, I've got room on the list for one more personal reading if you'd like to have a full reading today. You're very welcome, Per. I will. No, you can set any. I will not set any intentions. No, you can. You can set intentions. I keep on getting now is a good time for clearing and intention setting. Yeah, because the thing about it, this karmic storm is not affecting you. It's saying to me it has nothing, like it's not affecting you the same way, and that has a bit to do. Here's the thing about it. You and your karmic have energetically cleared something, so it's not the storm is not impacting you. Like that's what we've been seeing there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course you can recall the elevator dream. I just went. Yeah, exactly. I bet. You're so welcome, Per. Hi there, Ella. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, let's continue right now. So let's continue right now. So we are going to get started. Yeah, exactly. We're going to get started on one card readings for those who are super fans or those who are paid subscribers. So if you are a super fan and paid subscriber who would like a one card, just go ahead and put your question in the comments. If you'd like to become a super fan or paid subscriber, you can do so now, and you'll be eligible for a one card. How you doing there, Endless? Hope you're having a lovely day. Okay. Well, Russell, guess what? I've got some good news for you. You can miss me with that. All right. Hi there, Vancouver. These are one card readings for those who are super fans. So if you'd like to become a super fan, I'm happy to draw a card for you, dear. Yeah, well, I need to point out like that this is the reason, Bridget, that you and Per are showing up in each other's dream spaces, right? Yeah. Bridget, one card, highest priority, please. It's interesting too because I just keep on getting this is what the guides were leading into for you. Like the guides have been leading up to this moment for you in a big way, and I just keep on seeing um building into the present right now is important, because I would not be surprised if a lot of the dreams that you're getting coming through right now are a bit of like, allow me to explain, right? Helping another person explain like the limitations that you put on something, right? The limitations and conditions that you put on something, right? They're like, your guides see it as like, I feel like the guides have been like, we've been working for a very long time to clear a path, while also not interfering with any of the conditions by which you articulated that you would come back. And they did that out of respect for you, because that is how much they respect, that is how much they respect your energetic judgment on things, is what I keep on seeing, right? Incredibly respective and respectful. Mm-hmm. Ella, one card, highest, please. We've got the 10 of cups in its reversal. So I feel like it's really interesting because the 10 of cups in its reversal, um, the 10 of cups in its reversal speaks to us about um, when we're trying, like when we're doing our best to facilitate the best outcome for everyone around us, things have a tendency, like bottom of the deck. I feel like it almost says to me, like, I don't know why, but it's like, it feels to me like one of your guides are saying, like, why would anyone hurt themselves against you? Right? And the reason I keep on getting, it's interesting, I feel like I need to write that down. Um, hurting themselves against you is often the space by which another person, it's like, it says to me, like the observation of another person, like trying to do something towards you, and immediately, I keep on hearing like immediately experiencing it themselves, right? Because that's often what happens. Like, you have to understand the quality and condition by which we apply energetic care to things is often amplified or articulated by in the care by which we ourselves potentially recognize or understand what feels um what feels best, but not just what feels best, but you trying to find, like, I just keep on seeing situations by which like you're often trying to find the best path, not just for yourself but for everyone involved. And I just keep on hearing the guide say it doesn't go unnoticed, and they're working in the capacity of helping you facilitate that too. Even I keep wondering, even if it doesn't feel like it, right? You're like that they're articulating that you have no idea the level of protection you have around yourself in that way. One moment, please. Avatar, one card on your divine counterpart. It's interesting. Like, I feel like I see your counterpart coming back into connection to a dream that they had long ago. You know? Yeah, especially with this 9 of Wands in its reversal. I see somebody talking about how long it's taken them to start taking something more seriously as it relates to some kind of creative endeavor. And I almost hear someone around them saying, like, it's never too late. I feel like it's somebody, like they're either giving or receiving a pep talk in relationality to the fact that like their time hasn't passed. Like this could be like everything could change in a moment. So it's interesting because I see somebody contemplating on giving up on something, but then in the space by which they contemplate on it, I feel like they can almost feel your energy encouraging them in some way as it relates to some kind of context of what they're working through or what they're trying to do. you know it's like somehow your energy's connecting them and giving them that courage to continue to move through something that they themselves would typically, like, I keep on getting a new reserve of courage they didn't know they had, because I feel like that's you. Like I see you doing things not for the sake of having something happen, but just simply for the joy of it. And I feel like something about that connection is drawing them closer to you, even in a moment by which they feel very low or they feel very heavy, right? Like now more than ever kind of energy. Alyssa, thank you for that follow. Hi there, Habib. I mean, you figured out they're related somehow. Well, we can get into that. That's fascinating. I'm sure we can talk about it. At our next private. Yes, this is live, Carlos. Ava, I got you. One card on the message from your soul sister that came through in the reading yesterday, please. Yeah, it's interesting. It's a reaffirmation that soul sisters are not. I keep on hearing soul sisters are reflections, not mirrors. Okay, and what does that mean? A soul select a soul someone who holds sisterhood with us is a reflection, not a mirror, because what you'll often understand in the quality of a sister, and this is why sisters often don't agree, but they protect each other, is the observation of the fact that we often grow stronger in the space by which we see another person's energetic deficit, right? Because it's literally the ligature, right? It's the ligature that we build upon ourselves to protect another in a way that they can't protect themselves, right? So often, sisters are reflections of each other's history, because if one is confident, it's to build up, it's to help for like the sister that's too shy, right? It's like they build ligatures upon each other because they become more pronounced, right, in terms of becoming the thing that the other needs. And so they're saying pay close attention to that, because they said the similarity, right? The similarity you'll find in each other, right, is the similarity in terms of what it is that you protect, right? It won't be someone, it won't be, I keep on getting, it won't be copycat energy, right? The difference between, I keep on getting this, the difference between a sister and a copycat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the bear, right? Like they're like, I just keep on hearing the same message, right? Sisters are not copycats, they're ligatures, right? Simply, like, sisters are not copycats, they're ligatures. They become strong in the face of another's insecurity in order to protect each other, like, even more strongly. That's why they're different, because they become in but when you put them together, you find the whole person there. And that's what it will feel like when you come into contact with them. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, dear, and sending you support on that journey. I'm afraid I don't do pregnancy readings here, 4-star. You're welcome, Avatar. Ella, thanks, and I've really been feeling that protection as of late, especially this week. Yeah, yeah, I know. I know it's hard, but just be reflective of that. You know, I don't know why it feels like, I don't know why it feels like someone who keeps on projecting on you and hurting themselves in the process. I mean, that's, I can't, you can't stop someone from doing that. All you can do is observe if it's occurring. Thank you for also connecting that message, Mighty. Good to see you today. Hi, Ivana. Good to see you. I mean, it feels like a wedge they're throwing themselves against, you know? Mm-hmm. All right. Just a moment. Yes. Hold on. Yeah. Thank you for confirming as well, Ella. Sending you support on that journey. All right. All right, my friends, final call. Oh, and thank you for the follow, 4-star. Final call for anyone who is a super fan or a paid member who has not had their one card today. Coco, these are one card readings for paid members. So if you'd like to become a paid member, I'm happy to draw a card for you. Yeah, they built a massive wedge between us. Sending you support, Phoenix. Hi there. One card. Nobody can build, listen, I got to tell you right now, nobody can build a wedge between two individuals if you don't let them. You know, like, if there's a wedge between two individuals that wasn't put there, then that's somebody else's failing. You know, you can't see yourself in the chat. I can see you, per Kath. One card for, if another person allowed someone to build a wedge between you, it's because they put too much weight in other people's opinions, right? Hi, Kath. One card for divine counterpart, please. Yeah, it's the Ace of Swords. It's the same message I was getting in our reading, right? You're never, I just keep on hearing, remember, you'll never question what you mean to me. Yeah, you'll never question what you mean to me and who you are to me, right? And yeah, Animal Oracle, you're not a distraction, you're the whole package, right? You're not a distraction, you're not a whole package. You're not there to, like, it's interesting to remember I said somebody's trying to use you as the diamond to break the tempered glass of a relationship, right? You're like, that's you, like, you are not, like, that's not, you are not, like, someone, don't let someone weaponize a friendship that another person knows is clearly, or like, something other than that, especially if you feel that too, right? Like, someone who's trying to hurt somebody by putting the word harmless somewhere that they know harmless cannot go. I got you, Ivana. One card from New Guide from the Dream. The Eight of Cups in its reversal. So I feel like there's something very important there in relationality to you. Like, you can't miss anything that's for you. And it's wild to me because I feel like there's something there. Um, it says to me, the observation of situations where someone feels like they've taken something from you, and then they realize a moment later that they just ruined the opportunity of a lifetime for themselves. Yeah, this is what I keep on getting. Like, I feel like there's some kind of energy here related to a circumstance or situation by which someone thought, right? Like, someone thought they were energetically hurting you by taking something away from you. And then the higher self gave them the tableau, and they recognized that they missed the opportunity of a lifetime, right? Like, it's almost like I feel like I feel like it's them kind of coming into that like giant moment where they suddenly realize that the damage that they did was inconsequential to you, but was all encompassing for them, like, and it really does. It feels like somebody who tried to do something out of spite, right? It's like, oh, they tried to do something out of spite, and now like some kind of guide is showing them, like, over and over again, that had they not done something out of spite, like the path that would have emerged, the path that would have emerged if they had chosen not to be spiteful, is what I keep on seeing. Thank you for confirmation, Ella. You're so welcome, Kath. I'm the creepy anonymous spectator. You are not the creepy anonymous spectator, Per. I see you just fine. Mm-hmm. I really needed this message. You're so welcome, Kath. I hope it helps. You're so welcome, Ivana. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Exactly to all this. Thank you, Ella. Yep. All right. Excellent. All right, my friends, final call for anyone who is a super fan or a paid member who has not had a card pulled. We will be back on tomorrow at our standard time. Actually, we'll be we'll be offline tomorrow, but we'll be back on Monday. If you would like to get on the list, for a full reading for Monday, you can get on the list this weekend, and anyone who gets on the list before I go live will have priority, which means you'll be read for before we start the daily collective. Um, I want to thank you guys so much. I also want to remind you guys that we've got tarot class next week. So if you still want to join, you still have an opportunity to join that class. It's 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers, Binks and My Lio. I want to thank you as well. If you became a super fan or paid member today, I would encourage you to head over to our super fan only disco channel to introduce yourself to the collective. If you would like access to that disco, just message me directly with a disco GIF and I'll send you an invite to that disco. There you can introduce yourself to the collective, and you'll also find there a special coupon code that will give you a discount to our tarot class subscription program. Our next class is going to be on Thursday, June 18th at 5:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the ace cards. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages. Huge thank you to my followers, old and new. Thank you for being here today and receiving these messages. Huge thank you to my subscribers. Your ongoing support means the absolute world to me. And the biggest thank you to my mod, K. Megan. I hope you're getting rest wherever you may be. I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of one another. And we'll do this again tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.